Hello, welcome to my channel Qubit Educational Services. In this video we are going to solve the 8th question or question number 38 from the ISR Aptitude Test mock paper 1. This question is based on the properties of terms which are in AP or GP and the binomial coefficients, which are essentially the combinations. Okay, so the question says that the binomial coefficients NCR plus 1 and NCR plus 2, where R lies between 0 and n minus 2, both values inclusive, can be in AP or in GP, can be in AP but never in GP, can be in GP but never in AP, and option D, can never be in AP or GP. Alright, now for those of you who may not be knowing, the alternate notation for NCR is N, and you write R below it, and then you put a bracket covering both of them, but you don't write anything between N and R. Okay, so this is NCR. People are more familiar with this notation, but NCR's this notation is also very commonly used. Alright, now we'll first check whether we can have binomial coefficients in GP, and then we will go to the AP part. Alright, so first I've taken the ratio of two consecutive combinations. Okay, so NCR plus 1 and NCR, that is the first two terms. Okay, now NCR plus 1 can be written as n factorial upon R plus 1 factorial into n minus bracket R plus 1 factorial or n minus R minus 1 factorial, and NCR the usual formula. Okay, now this will lead to the cancellation of n factorial. Okay, so R factorial into n minus R factorial, those two terms will go in the numerator, right? And these two terms will sit in the denominator as they were already sitting there, right? R plus 1 factorial into n minus R minus 1 factorial. Using the reduction formula for factorials, R factorial upon R plus 1 factorial will give us simply R plus 1 in the denominator, and n minus R factorial divided by n minus R minus 1 factorial will lead to the cancellation of this term in the denominator, and we will have only n minus R in the numerator. Alright, now if you repeat the same process, okay, if we repeat the same process for the next two consecutive terms, that is NCR plus 2 divided by NCR plus 1, okay, you'll end up getting n minus R minus 1 upon R plus 2. Well, it's not very difficult to see this now. Okay, when you have R plus 1 and R, okay, in the numerator you have n minus R, so 1 less than this, so here it will be 1 less than R plus 2, so R plus 1, so n minus R minus 1. And in the denominator, when you have R here, you have R plus 1, so when you have R plus 1, you must have R plus 2. Okay, of course, I mean, you know how to prove it now. Alright, now if at all there are three terms of NCRs which are in GP, then three consecutive terms, then this must be equated to this, okay, in order to check whether that is indeed true or possible. Okay, because the property of any GP is the ratio of any two consecutive terms is constant or equal. Okay, so let's do that now. N minus R upon R plus 1, okay, should be equated with n minus R minus 1 upon R plus 2. Okay, and now we'll cross multiply and see what condition do we get on n and R. Alright, so cross multiplication leads to, okay, so R plus 2 into this first, so nr plus 2n minus R squared minus 2R, and then let us go to the right hand side. Okay, these two terms, so it will give us nr plus n minus R squared minus R minus R minus 1. Now you can cancel nr and nr. You can also cancel minus R squared and minus R squared, and you have negative 2R here, which will cancel this negative R and this negative R. Okay, so you now see that everything that contains R has got vanished. Okay, so what remains is 2n equal to n minus 1. So if you equate 2n to n minus 1, then n is minus 1. Okay, you can check it. 2 into minus 1 is minus 2, minus 1 minus 1 is minus 2. But is this ever possible? No, this is never possible, right? Because we are studying combinations. So for combinations, the least value that n can have is 1. Okay, so n can never be equal to negative 1, which means any three consecutive binomial coefficients can never be in geometric progression. Alright, so going back to the options, never in GP. Okay, so can be in GP, can be in GP, these two options go, so it is either B or D. Okay, so having done the same thing, having checked for GP, let's go to AP. To see if any three consecutive binomial coefficients can be in AP, what we do is we take a slightly different approach, which is based on the properties of arithmetic progression. Okay, so first let us write down NCR, NCR plus 1 and NCR plus 2 in their standard notations using the formula NCR, okay, n factorial upon r factorial into n minus r factorial. Okay, we did the same thing even for GP. Okay, but now what we do is, because NCR plus 1 is the middle term, we try to express NCR and NCR plus 2 as NCR plus 1 times something. Okay, so I'll find that NCR is equal to NCR plus 1 multiplied by r plus 1 upon n minus r, and NCR plus 2 as NCR plus 1, that is this term again, multiplied by n minus r minus 1 upon r plus 2. You can very easily get this by using the properties of factorial function. Okay, all right. So to check if NCR plus 1 and NCR plus 2 are in AP, it is enough to check r plus 1 upon n minus r, the number 1 or the term 1, and the term n minus r minus 1 upon r plus 2, whether these three terms are in AP. Why? Because if any three terms are in AP, then if you multiply each and every term by a non-zero number, the result should also be in AP. Okay, so that is what we are making use of here. Okay, that constant or non-zero number is NCR plus 1. Okay, I mean we are doing this just to simplify our things. To check whether NCR plus 1 and NCR plus 2 can be in AP, or whether they are in AP, we check for the appropriate simplified versions of the terms r plus 1 upon n minus r, 1, and n minus r minus 1 upon r plus 2. Alright, now what we do is we multiply everything, we multiply each and every term by the denominators of the first and the third term. So this will give us the first term to be r plus 1 into r plus 2, second term to be the whole thing n minus r into r plus 2, and the third term as n minus r minus 1 into this term n minus r. Okay, and yeah, now let's go to the AP. Okay, so if these indeed were three consecutive terms of an AP, it would mean 2 times the middle term has to be the addition of the first and the last, or first and the third. Yes. Okay, so this is the governing equation through which we can, or we are looking for a relation between n and r. We're looking for a relation, and if at all it is possible. Okay, because we found out that for GP that's impossible. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to expand this polynomial, and of course the right hand side. Okay, so r plus 1 into r plus 2 is going to give you r squared plus 3r plus 2. Then n minus r minus 1 into n minus r is going to give you these 6 terms. You can just multiply and check it for yourself. And same thing for the right hand side. 2 times n minus r into r plus 2 is equal to 2nr plus 4n minus 2r squared minus 4r. Of course, every term is going to have 2 as its factor. Okay, and now begins the perhaps the most important part. Okay, and that is simplifying this whole I would say equation, so that we can make some sense out of that. Okay, so to do that, this is what I have done. I have let each and every term to go to the left hand side except the term n. Okay, because the only way to simplify this is either you get n on one side and everything else on the other side, or you get r on one side and everything else to the other side. Okay, so I have gone with n, so let's see what has happened. Okay, now let us use the color scheme. First, let's accumulate the terms containing r squared. Okay, so there are I think 3 of them. This r squared, and this negative 2r squared. If you get everything to the left hand side, it will be 4r squared. Okay, let's go to r terms now. We have 3r here, we have r here, and we have minus 4r here, so that will make it 8r. Okay, let this 2 be left as it is. We'll come to that later. Then let's go to n squared. There's only one n squared term. I'll write it here. Okay, now let's go to nr terms highlighted by red downward arrows. Okay, so negative nr plus 2nr on the right hand side, so effectively minus 4nr. Okay, and now there are 2 terms left. we have negative n here and we have 4n there. Okay, so instead of keeping 4n on one side and then dividing everything by 4, we can shift minus n to the other side, which will make it plus n, and we can bring 4n to the left hand side so that it will become minus 4. Alright, now there is one more crucial step here, okay, and that is required for completing the square. Okay, and to complete the square we will be adding 2 on the LHS as well as on the RHS. Okay, so the 2 which is added to the LHS gets added to this 2 and we can write it as 4. And now we can actually start thinking of factorizing the left hand side, because there is nothing to be factorized on the right hand side. Okay, first keep n squared as it is. Observe that excuse me, the first 3 terms, okay, 4r squared plus 8r plus 4, and we got this 4 by completing the square, is basically the expansion of 2 into bracket r plus 1 the whole square. Okay, and now we have to adjust the last 2 terms so that we can make use of a squared plus b squared minus 2ab, and that's exactly what I've done. Okay, you can take n common and 4 common. Okay, so 4nr minus 4nr minus 4n, if you take minus 4n common it will be r plus 1, but here you see 2 into r plus 1 bracket squared, right? So one factor of this 4 can be written separately with 2r plus 1, with r plus 1, and the other one as the formula 2, okay, minus 2ab. So this now allows us to write the left hand side as a bracket square of 2 into bracket r plus 1, that is a, minus n the whole square. Okay, now this equation is very fundamental because the entire solution will depend on this. And okay, and the 2 important steps that we did, okay, first one was expanding and letting everything go to the LHS except n, and then the completion of the square. These are very important, otherwise it is very difficult to correctly guess the order of or the sequence of simplifications. Okay, now using this, let's see what conclusions we can draw. First, you shift this 2 to the left hand side, so we can write n as 2 into bracket r plus 1 minus n the whole squared, which we had got earlier, minus 2. Alright, now let us assume that the term inside the bracket is alpha. Okay, 2 into bracket r plus 1 minus n, and therefore n can be written as alpha squared minus 2. And using the same relation, okay, using the same relation among r, n and alpha, you can write r plus 1 as alpha plus n divided by 2. Okay, and there is one more thing, use n as alpha squared minus 2 there. Okay, so r plus 1 will be now equal to alpha plus alpha squared minus 2 divided by 2. Okay, so basically what we are trying to do is we are trying to express both n and r in terms of alpha. Okay, that is the newly introduced unknown. Alright, so we have already done that for n, which is alpha squared minus 2, and now let us do it for r plus 1, okay, which is alpha plus alpha squared minus 2 divided by 2. If you factorize this, okay, the numerator, it will be alpha plus 2 into alpha minus 1 divided by 2. Okay, let's keep it as r plus 1. Alright, now what is this suggesting? This is suggesting that, I mean, it is very well possible that if we take n as alpha squared minus 2, and if we take r plus 1 as alpha plus 2 into alpha minus 1 divided by 2, then indeed NCR, NCR plus 1 and NCR plus 2 can be in AP. Okay, well, now what I've done is I've taken 2 values of alpha, and that will essentially prove that it is possible you can have 3 consecutive binomial coefficients to be in AP. Okay, we'll start with alpha's value to be 2. Okay, so if I take alpha to be 2, what will n be? Alpha squared minus 2, that will be 2. Okay, but this will now give us r plus 1 as 2. How? Okay, what is r plus 1? Alpha plus 2, so 4 into alpha minus 1, 2 minus 1 is 1. Okay, so this is 2. Okay, well, that is 4, and then you divide by 2. Okay, so that will be 2. Now why is r plus 1 equal to 2 not possible? Because that will mean r is equal to 1, and in our problem it is specifically mentioned that r has to be less than or equal to n minus 2. Okay, so in our case, if alpha were 2, which means n is 2, then r has to be, r can take only one value, that is 0. Okay, that's not allowed. Okay, so we switch to the next value of alpha, that is 3. Okay, now if we take alpha to be 3, what is n? which is alpha squared minus 2, 9 minus 2, 7. And what is r plus 1? If n is 7, then r plus 1 would be, well, alpha plus 2, so 3 plus 2, 5, into alpha minus 1, 3 minus 1 is 2, and then divided by 2, so that will be 5. But this is r plus 1's value, so r's value is 4. Okay, so what will r plus 1 be? 5, and r plus 2 will be 6. Okay, so we now need to check whether 7C4, 7C5 and 7C6 are in AP. Okay, we'll see that. First, let's go to the last value, which is the easiest to be found out, 7C6, which is 7. Okay, 7C5 will be 7 factorial upon 5 factorial into 2 factorial. So 7 factorial upon 5 factorial will be 42, right? 6 into 7. 42 upon 2 factorial will be 21. And similarly, if you compute 7C4, that turns out to be 35. Okay, and if you add 7 and 35, you are going to get 42, which is 2 times 21. So we have found out an example where the binomial coefficients in succession are indeed in AP. Okay, yeah. So which option is correct? You cannot have them in GP, but you can have them in AP. Okay, so can be in AP but can never be in GP, so the correct option to question 38 is B. Okay, and according to me, in this particular PDF, 38th question is the lengthiest, provided you don't know any quick example to determine that they can be in AP. Okay, other questions are, I would say, well, they are difficult, but this is in terms of the time required to solve is concerned, 38th is the most time concerned. Okay, yeah, so this is 38th. Thank you for watching. In the next video we will solve 39.